We can often judge people as unhelpful, unaware, stupid, dumb, or just outright ignorant. However, it's far from the truth. Welcome back to the Joyful Mate podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Hartcher. I'm your joyful journey mentor, and today we are talking about awareness, right? Awareness, and it's a subject that has come to light in certain recent events for me, and I reflect back on my life, and I certainly can remember many a times where I felt dumbfounded or stupid. My first real moment of truth or realization of this came when I was in my mid-20s and late 20s, and my wife at the time left me. And I'm thinking, wow, this came out of nowhere. However, when I often reflect back over the course of the relationship, there was so many signs that I just missed. I was unaware, like not having been in that intimate relationship before that or had much experience. And this is the thing, our experience really helps shape our level of awareness, or how broad our awareness is, or how deep our awareness is. And we can really get blindsided very easily if either don't have the experience or it's not important to us. Not saying that relationships weren't important to me, but at the time I certainly was very inexperienced. And so people can label you or judge you as ignorant. And we often see this thrown around a lot in relation to particular subject matter or topics that are circulating. And people go, how do you not know that? Or how were you not aware of that? Well, it's simple. The person it's either not important to them or they have no experience in the area. And so they're in there, they've got the L plates on, they're learning, they're increasing their awareness. And so we all have different levels of awareness in different areas, whether it be relationships, money, whether it be in mental health, physical health. We are all shaped differently because our experiences in terms of our upbringing and our individualism, which shapes what's important to us, or creates this how aware we are and what we're looking for, because we can only take so much in our conscious awareness through our senses, right? So our senses will filter a lot out and will only take in what's important to us and what's important to us in that moment. So, for example, another recent event, I was involved in a rescue down at Coogee Beach on New Year's Day, and there was hundreds of people there on the day. I have a background in surf lifesaving, and I started surf lifesaving when I was a little nipper in my junior years at Terrigal Surf Club, went to Wombrel Surf Club, then went to Avoca Surf Club, then Bronte Surf Club. And so I've been all around and exposed to the ocean all my life. So I have great ocean awareness of currents and rips and conditions. And that day I saw someone in a rip struggling. And I thought, well, not only I've noticed that they're struggling, but also I have the empowerment. I'm equipped, resourceful in order to help that person. And so I'm able to act. However, when I talked to other people that day who were on the beach, some were totally unaware that someone was drowning, which is understandable because drowning is very silent. And unless you're looking at that particular part of the ocean, you're not going to see anyone's drowning. And drowning happens very quickly. So again, this person was just doing their routine, not really looking out at the ocean, but just saw some events sort of a bit unusual, someone, running past this person with a bodyboard. And so she sort of thought, well, that's a bit unusual, but she just went back to her meditation. And then all of a sudden, police are down there, ambulance are down there, helicopters are circulating. And so she just missed that moment. She was very resourceful in terms of her skill set. So she said, well, I could have helped out that day, but she was unaware. And again, it's what's important to us in that moment captures our attention, and we take in that information that's important to us in that moment through our sensory inputs. And so for her in that moment, her most important thing was to do her morning routine because it's really important to her. And the morning routine was meditation. So she went about doing her meditation. And that would be, I guess, similar to what other people along the Esplanade experience that day was some may have actually seen someone struggling in the rip, however, didn't have the experience or knowledge or resources in order to know what to do. And so they're disempowered in that situation. And so their response is more likely to do what they know, which, okay, someone's struggling in the ocean, I better call for help or I better seek someone that can help them. And so that's, again, they're doing what's within their control, what they know, again, from prior experiences, from education. And so they're helping in their unique way. So again, some people can label you as unhelpful, but you might not be aware that they need help. And this often happens in relationships where someone says, couldn't you see that I needed help? And but you didn't help me? Are you useless or dumb or just naive or ignorant? And again, we can jump quickly to judgment in relationships if we didn't get help that we wanted just because the person was unaware or didn't know what to do and didn't know how to help. And this happens all throughout life. And we go through increasing our awareness through experiences. Those experiences will shape whether we do something about it and act so that we don't get disempowered in future experiences. So we're resourceful if we encounter that in the future. And so, again, this all comes through our conscious awareness. And our conscious awareness is really switched on to what's most important to us in the moment. So if someone's very focused on their work, but their partner wants to have a discussion about what's concerning them most, which is the relationship, that person may not pick up on the words that are spoken or the feeling of the person that's sharing the information with them, just simply because they're engaged in something else in that moment, or their awareness and hence their senses are connected with what's most important to them in that moment. The other person, the most important thing in their moment is the relationship because it's playing on their mind and they want to get something out in terms of how they're feeling. But they think the other person's ignoring them. Well, in actual fact, it's just that they're not aware that the other person is struggling or has this perception of struggle in the relationship or wants to say something in the relationship just simply because they're focused on something else. And this will happen in the workforce too, where people are focused on different projects and miss key information from other things or other parts of the organization that are going on. And they might be labeled as naive or stupid or, didn't you see that announcement? Didn't you read that announcement? It's just simply because it wasn't important to them in that moment and it didn't capture their conscious awareness, right? So again, we don't want to be quick to judgment around, seeing people as ignorant or stupid or dumb. It's just because it's either not important to them and therefore they're not focused on it and therefore they don't pick up on the cues or the information because we can only take so much in through our senses. And so our senses are filtering based on what's important to us in that moment. And so we will miss a whole lot of information at any given moment because we're just focused on what's most important to us. In this moment, I'm focused on this recording. So there's a lot of stuff happening around me that I'm totally unaware of, right? Because all my sensory awareness is tuned in to delivering this message. And so my thought process, everything is aligned to delivering this message around awareness and to help you see that other people might not necessarily be ignoring you or might not necessarily be stupid or might not necessarily be unhelpful. It's just simply because they're unaware and they haven't either had the experience, so therefore know what to do or be helpful, or they simply just miss it, right? They just miss it because they're tuned into something else. And this will happen all throughout your life. It's happened all throughout my life. However, that relationship experience woke me up to, okay, that was a cue. That was a cue. That was a cue that things weren't working out or she was unhappy. So again, all the cues are there. I just didn't have the relationship awareness. But now, as a result of that experience, I now are empowered in that situation. And I'm sure the situation down in at Coogee Beach that day on New Year's Day, people are more aware of drowning, how silent it is and how quickly it can happen. And anyone that's witnessed it or been exposed to it, it's it's really different to other, I guess, incidents that happen around us, because in most other instances, people are able to scream for help. They're able to communicate through their voice. But in a drowning, your voice is unheard. It's underwater. It's essentially there's too much water encapsulating the whole, well, it fills up. It fills up your diaphragm. It fills up up until your voice break. You get to mend that, like, so no words can come out. Yes, you can see actions, but you won't hear anything. And so, unless your sight was visually looking out at the ocean that day in that particular area, you would miss what's happening. And also, if you're unaware of what struggling in the ocean looks like, then again, you'll also miss it because you're unaware. You just don't know. And so certain people would have walked away with experiences that day that have shaped them going forward in terms of being able to recognize someone in distress in the water. It's very different to seeing someone distressed on land that can talk, or that that can capture their attention in other ways. So yeah, so in terms of awareness, the key message here is that people have got different levels of awareness around you. So it's not that we want to be judgmental of them, is to just have that level of understanding that they might not be aware, and that we might need to create that awareness through other ways. So in order to capture someone's attention, we want to be talking in their language, talking a language that's important to them. So understanding what's important to others, then we can engage them. We can engage their sensories. So again, if you want to connect with others, it's really important that you develop a dossier of the things that are important to that person, because that's how you'll capture their attention. We because like I've got my real hyper attention in certain areas, right? And you can see that, right? In terms of what I'm interested in terms of what I share on the podcast. I'm really aware in these areas, but there's other areas that I've got less awareness in. For example, I think it's the NFL, the American footy, the gridiron is on today. I don't even know who's playing, but it's been in the media for weeks, right? Leading up to this Super Bowl final. However, it's not important to me. So therefore it doesn't grab my attention. How can you not know who's in the Super Bowl final? I'm actually recording this when the Super Bowl final has started. It's just not important to me. So yes, you could judge me as ignorant, but I'm certainly not ignorant in all areas, as you are aware in terms of listening to this podcast. I have great awareness and education and empowerment in certain areas. But as life goes, we don't have them in all areas, because that's how we have the synergistic effect. We have unique areas that we're interested in that are important to us, and we will always focus our energy and time into those areas that are most important to us and be ignorant of other areas. And that's the course of life. But we certainly don't want to judge others. We, if someone's ignorant in a particular area, then you know it's not important to them. And so if you want their attention, you don't want to talk about that area. So if someone comes to talk to me about the Super Bowl, I haven't got all my senses turned on to what they're sharing about the Super Bowl. Not necessarily. Like, I'm pretty thinking, well, how can we change this topic? Like everyone does. They want to change the topic to what's most important to them. However, if you want to deepen the relationship, then you be curious about the Super Bowl. You lean into the Super Bowl in order to connect with them in a deeper way, if that's the most important to you in that moment. Because if it's not, then you'll be thinking about something else and wanting to get to something else. And this is human behavior. We are very focused in what's most important to us and what's going to give us the most advantages over disadvantages, benefits over disadvantages, yeah. So again, that's human nature. What evolves us is in terms of what's most important to us, and will continue to evolve in that area. And other areas will continue to be ignorant in, will continue to be less aware in. But we're not stupid or dumb. We're smart in the areas that are important to us. However, just a bit naive or just not interested, because it's not important in areas that other people might perceive that we have no level of awareness in, or no education in, or understanding of. So that's it for today's podcast. If you want help in terms of building more deeper relationships or having more awareness, expansion of consciousness, please reach out. I'm happy to give you insights as to how you can evolve as a person, how you can get more focus, achieve more purpose and meaning in your life by helping you tune into the things that are your superpowers and disregarding other people's objectives and goals and things like that, or wanting to be someone else. I help you be the best version of you. If this is you, then please reach out for a free session. It's in the show notes. You can go directly to the show notes, click on the link and book in a free time with me, and we can discuss how I can help you and help you be the best version of you and live a meaningful and purposeful life. Until next time, continue to go on your joyful journey by listening to the Joyful Mate podcast.